Hey everybody, this is EC Pyro here. I just wanted to get a chance to make a video about Finale fireworks. Now this is just going to get into some of the basic stuff behind Finale and kind of help some of you guys that are starting out with this. I understand that a lot of you guys are going to be firing 1.4G Pro and 1.4G, and Finale can absolutely be used for these more, quote, close proximity effects. So and actually I do that myself, so I don't just use this for 1.3. I actually do use this system when I'm when I am making and scripting 1.4 and 1.4G Pro shows. Usually they're, smaller budget shows, and as a lot of people already know, the 1.4G Pro items have actually became really popular, and they're actually really well made. Dominator and Spirit of 76 really has outdone themselves on these Pro items and devices that they've made, whether it's cakes, mines, comets, all these one-shot items that they have that enable you to sync fireworks with music is phenomenal. So anyway, let's get into this. So Finale is a kind of an internet-based sort of program in which you have a landscape here, and from this landscape we're going to kind of create our own fireworks show here. And the beauty of Finale is you can actually see your fireworks show come to life before you even shoot it, and that's why a lot of people really love using Finale. And also the fact that you can import directly the script from what you create on here into, let's say, a Cobra 18R2 remote, which is super great. I use a Cobra and I use a Mongoose system. Mongoose is not directly plug and play with Finale. You have to do a couple little creative things with it, but it's certainly doable, and it's actually not that hard. But for simplicity's sake this time, we're probably going to stick with the 18R2 setup. Now, as we can see on the landscape view here, we have wind direction, and we also have how far away your point of view is. So we're approximately 936 feet away from the launch site. For 1.4 shows, we're going to pull that down to about 250-ish, maybe a little bit more. Let's go to like 400. Okay. So we can see that when we moved this, your launch zone gets bigger. Okay. And as we pull it farther away, obviously it gets smaller. Finale will automatically start you with one launch zone. Some shows have multiple sites. They could have like a ton of fronts, and then some medium spaced ones, and then ones far in the back. And Finale actually allows you to do this stuff. So how it does that is these you can actually drag around and place them horizontally, but you can also drag them vertically. And when you do that, I know that it looks kind of crazy all the way up here, but when you actually drag them vertically, that's supposed to simulate that they're farther away in space. So if we press Control L and bring up another launch zone, we can see that this is simulated more further away than this one. So that it actually enables you to put, one in front of the other if that's what you wished to do. So as we pull these away, we can see that it is telling us that this is, approximately 200 feet from center. Okay, so let's go ahead and put these guys about 200 feet from the center. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and create another launch zone right in the middle. Okay, now we have 3 launch zones. Okay. And we're just, for simplicity's sake, we're going to say that our fireworks show that we're creating only has 3 launch sites, which some shows do. So now that we've got these, we can kind of discuss the timeline here. Now this is in seconds, okay, and it starts you out at the 10-second mark. Why does it do that? Well, a lot of us tend to script shows and put a just a period of no music, and no fireworks, just as a safety precaution. That way, that no fireworks have been shot if something is awry. So that usually that first 10 seconds, first 5 seconds are just completely dead. That way, we have time to kill the show and fix what needs to be fixed, rather than get a quarter way through the show and realize something's wrong and then have to stop in the middle of the show. Anyway, sorry for the tangent on that, but that's why this does it. Now, what I like to do with the timeline is make it a little bit bigger. As you can see, this is pretty small, so I'm going to go ahead and make it bigger with this. At the bottom right here, you have an arrow pointing up and an arrow pointing down. You're just going to click that once, and that blows up the timeline, widens it. You can actually do it again if you wish. If you're going to have a lot of effects layered on top of each other, this is a good thing to have. That way that it makes everything clear what you actually have going on. What I also like to do, I'll show you real quick. I'll throw in a blue peony to strobe here. As you can see, anytime you click an effect here, it puts the break at that second. So it accounts for lift charge. So anytime you drag something onto the timeline, it's automatically going to put the burst at the point on the timeline that you drag it to, or where this cursor is, which is good because you want to have breaks that are in sync with music. So it actually accounts for lift. This would be a 3-inch shell, so it's putting 1, 2, 3, about 4 seconds of lift. Anyway, so as we can see, it has a it's kind of hard to see what this is unless you hover over it with your mouse. So it says blue peony to strobe 3-inch. What I like to do personally, just to make it a little bit easier, is to put click the button down here at the bottom right with the 3. It looks like a yellow, a blue, and a red bar. Click that, and you can actually see that it puts the blue peony actually in its own little box here, and you don't have to hover over it. You can see what it is. It's a little bit easier to see what's going on. Anyway, I'm going to delete this real quick. We kind of did that a little quick, but so we have our 3 launch zones, right? So now it's kind of up to you what you want to do next. I will just go ahead and add some music to this, just so I have the track set. We're going to go to show, set music, and let's go ahead and do the 1812 Overture. That's a media file that came with Finale, and you can use it to practice some of your techniques on. You can script some shows with it. It'll be good. It actually helped me practice this a little bit. So now what we're going to do here is designate a firing system for this show. Finale actually has a lot of firing systems built in to the scripting software here. So if we go to show and we go down to set firing system, you can see that we have all of these firing systems that Finale works with. Okay. So, oops, let me go back here. Set firing system. Okay. So default is automatically clicked. So let's go ahead, since most of us have a Cobra system and most of us use a Cobra system. I personally use a Mongoose system, but I use Cobra through our Pyrotechnics Club. So let's go ahead and do Cobra 18R2. All right, so to set the number of mods at each launch zone, we got to click on a launch zone. So let's go to position 1, right click. And it brings up kind of a grid-looking area. This is actually the zone in which the launch area is in, and you can actually put your mods and your racks wherever you would like them to be sitting. That way you can kind of get a picture in your head of what the layout is going to be. Anyway, we're not going to get into a whole lot of that right away, just because this is a basic tutorial. So let's go ahead and hit Edit Modules at the top right. You'll see that it pulls up a window to edit modules. Module slat type, address, first pin, number of pins, e-matches per pin, and angle. So let's go ahead and add a module. And we can see that pops up is 18R2. That is technically the remote. So I'm going to go ahead and put 18M just to make it easier. And the address is whatever address you assign to that module. I'm just going to go ahead and put it at address 1. And the first pin, obviously, for an 18M is 1. And the number of pins that an 18M has is 18. Pretty self-explanatory. Obviously, there's no way in hell we're going to get 999 e-matches per queue on an 18M, so I'm going to go ahead and put like 6. I don't want to restrict any size caliber to this, but you can certainly, to a launch zone, restrict it to 4-inch mortars or chains or something greater than 6-inch and put that in that particular launch zone. Okay. Angle, this is in case you're firing some of these shells at a slight angle. The angle here means from the vertical, not from the horizontal. So 0 would actually be straight up and down. -5 would be slightly tilted to the left. 10 is tilted more, etc., etc. The positive numbers are tilted right. So we have that. So in case you're shooting them at angles. And some people like to do that with certain small cakes and things like that. They like to put them on a slight slant so they're like crossing each other and stuff like that. So, all right, let's hit save. And we can see that the 18M module pops up here on the layout. So let's just go ahead and drag it somewhere so we have it kind of placed on the layout. You can totally leave it in the middle if you wish, if you're just doing one module per launch site, and that's totally fine too. But if you're going to have multiple modules per launch site, this would be a good, this is a good way to kind of keep everything straight and keep them organized on the field where you think you're going to be putting these. So let's go ahead and hit X and get out of there. Let's go ahead to position 2 and do the same thing. We're going to add a module. We're going to change it to 18M. We're going to call this address 2. We're going to have 6 e-matches per queue, and hit save. And we'll leave that guy in the middle. All right, let's do this one. Edit modules, add a module. And we'll call this 3. Okay. And change this. And save. So what happens if you go over the pin number in Finale? It will actually let you know that you've exceeded the maximum number of e-matches per queue that you've set. So that's what that is there for. The 999 obviously it's there because you're never going to hit that. So there's never going to be any error message that shows up no matter how many e-matches you have connected to a specific channel. So that's what that's for. Okay, so we have our launch position set. So we can start adding fireworks, guys. So we have the media file loaded here. I can play it for you just a little bit to illustrate. And as we can see, we've got the waveform here, and that kind of helps you tell where certain big expressive parts are in the file here. So you can do this a number of ways. You can start adding fireworks. If we want to, let's say, let's play this one more time. And you can see where it goes bum, 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 and we can technically have something break there. So let's go drag this off here. And let's say from, I don't know, from every position, let's shoot a white peony to strobe. Actually, you know what? Let's do that on the right and the left, and then we'll do a, I don't know, maybe a red one. So when we play this back, And like I said before, the break is actually going to be where your cursor is going to be, and it's going to account for lift. So it's going to shoot it. It's actually, the shell is going to be in the air before the time comes for that you're trying to sink. I hope that makes sense. But let's play this back, and I'll show you. And you can see that those broke with that part of the music, okay? So let's go ahead and put, let's put a couple more in here. So let's go ahead and drag, oh, I don't know, maybe, what the heck, let's do some smileys. So let's put a couple smiley faces in here. Let's go ahead and do a couple whites, another white, and a blue. Okay, and let's play that back. You can see that those kind of broke with the music, so which is great. That Finale actually factors in lift times. For specific shells, you might want to see the manufacturer that you're getting your shells from if you're shooting 1.3, and kind of gauge where the lift, how many seconds of lift you're going to have. For the most part, Finale does a pretty darn good job of estimating the lift time on these shells, so I basically just go with that for the most part, and it's still pretty good. So, and you can also shift between inventories here, so let's just go to all real quick. Let's say that I'm shooting all Kellner's product, and we can see that we have some artillery shells here. If we wanted to shoot, let's see, how about Pyrofest? You can see that these are in here, and it's pretty nice. Even the 1.4G Pro is in here. Obviously, we have a lot of cakes and mines and comets for them, and some of them is actually under the Dominator 1.4 regular. Some of the Pro stuff is in here, so it's kind of mixed, which kind of sucks when you're looking for something, but it's not too bad. So you can go through, put down effects on the timeline, you know, like you want to. You can even script while the show is playing. For example, I've got position 3 lit up. I'll play something here. So you can actually do it while the music is playing, and it'll put the actual break where I clicked in the timeline. So now let's hypothetically say, I'm going to go ahead and delete these. Now this is getting into what is called VDL language that Finale understands when it's trying to create effects for you. So for example, if you get a certain cake that is a 1.4 that Finale does not have already in their arsenal of effects, which happens quite often with 1.4 Pro, you can actually use the VDL language here to simulate a cake or a shell or basically anything, and kind of simulate any sort of effect that you're wanting to do. So let's go ahead and say that we have a cake. Let's say we have like a 100 shot zipper that are pearls, and we want all, and the effect lasts for let's say 15 seconds. So we're going to create a new simulation here. It's under effects. Okay, and this is going to pop up, and it kind of shows you some of the language here in the top, which is nice. And as long as you're putting stuff in sort of in this syntax, you will be fine. And the Finale discussion forums actually has a page on this kind of explaining what some of the VDL language is. But once you get it and once you're using it, it's pretty easy to get over that learning curve. So back to what I was going to create. So we're going to create You know what? Let's go for 300. 300 shot. Let's say 20-second pearl or green. Let's do green and red. Pearl. If I can spell pearl. Pearl cake. Okay, so we've got the basics there. Now let's add some stipulations to this. It's going to be shot like a zipper cake, and if we inserted this into the show just like it is now, you'll see that it only shoots straight up. It's sort of boring, so we're not going to do that. So let's go back to our simulation here. Oops. Create new. Okay. So we're going to go back to this. We're going to put, I don't know, let's say that this has 15 rows, okay? If I can spell rows. Sorry, guys. It's been a long day. Obviously, it's going to be a Z shape, which means zipper. And let's just say for kicks, this has a 0.1 second pre-fire time. And we're going to insert that into the show. And there we go. Finale's actually made that cake for us. So let's see what that actually looks like played. Pretty cool. So let's actually make something a little bit interesting. So let's go to create simulation. Let's make another cake here. Let's make something like a tannerite cake, like the M25 Airburst. Let's see if we can do that. So those are, I would say, approximately 1-inch tubes. So we'll say, you know, 1-inch 25 shot, and I think they're shot about in 20-ish seconds or 25 seconds. Let's just put 20 seconds. 20 second, and we're gonna put salute. Obviously, it's not a real salute cake, but we're gonna put salute. Salute cake, and we're gonna put, let's say this has 5 rows, which it does. Man, I cannot type tonight. And it's just going to shoot straight. And let's also put that it has a 0.1 second pre-fire time. Okay? Now, effectively, we've just kind of made something similar to an M25 Airburst. So let's insert that into the show here. And now you can see that it looks a little bit robotic. Technically, cakes don't really fire like that. So, you know, this is, again, a simulation. But it'll get you the idea of what you're trying to do. So let's, if you have specific shells that you don't have, that you want to make, you can certainly make that in here. You just use the VDL language. For example, let's say you want a 3-inch, a 3-inch, let's say red strobing peony with silver tail, and we'll insert that. And as you can see, Finale has made the effect. Yep. Pretty freaking cool software, man. If you're really trying to make cakes from scratch and stuff. So, what do I do for mortar racks with fuse? I get that question from a lot of people. So what I usually do is kind of lay out the fuse that I'm going to be using. It could be perfect fuse, could be visco fuse, it could be super fast fuse, some of that gray paper fuse, quick match, you know, whatever. And what I'm going to do, let's say, for example, I have 10 seconds. Let's make it a little bit more. Say I've got 15 seconds of fuse going across 10 shells on a rack, if that makes sense. They're consumer grade shells. So let's go ahead and hit create a new simulation, and let's just say that we have 1.75 inch gold glitter. So we'll put that in. Ooh, the pre-fire time is crazy on that. So let's go Control W and look and see what the pre-fire time is. 2 seconds. There's no way. More like probably 1.5. So we'll do that. Okay, so we've got this, and let's just go ahead and put. Let's just put all these, for simplicity's sake, let's just put all of these as the glittering chrysanthemum. Obviously, you're going to put whatever shells, especially if you have them labeled for effect. You can look and see which shells come in your kit, and you can make them on Finale and store them and have them 20 effects, whatever, per case of shells, you know, whatever you want to do. And then you can just drag and drop them in here. I haven't done that yet for this year, so for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste these. So Control C and Control V. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we're going to highlight those. And like I said, let's say we have 15 seconds of fuse going across these that's going to burn from one side of the rack to the other in 15 seconds. We'll say it's perfect fuse or something like that. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to Edit, you're going to go to Times at the bottom here, and you're going to go to Stagger. Increment times you want from first to last. Duration, you want these, let's say the 15 seconds that I was talking about. That's going to fire a shell at every 1.67 seconds. You're going to stagger this. And you've effectively made a chain of fireworks. This can totally simulate a rack of 10. What you can actually do from that makes it a little bit easier on you, if you're going to have a bunch of these racks with certain fuse burn speed. I'll go ahead and highlight this again, and I'll go to Effects, Make a cake from the selected items, and there you go. You basically made a cake that simulates a rack. And I'm going to go ahead and rename this with Control W. And I'm going to put in, let's say I got, let's say, I'm drawing a blank here. Continuum, 10 shot, rack, fused with perfect fuse. Okay, so there's that. We're going to hit apply. And we can see that this is going to actually simulate one of your racks. And I've actually found that this is the closest thing. I mean, it works for me really well, so hopefully it works for you. We'll delve into this just a little bit more, especially for Mongoose users in the next video. I hope this kind of helps for you to get you playing around with it, using the VDL language, and kind of getting your feet wet on Finale. There's also other great tutorials out there using Finale, so I just kind of wanted to make my own and kind of add some of the 1.4 Pro and consumer stuff to it, showing you guys that you can definitely script with this. So I hope that I've kind of got some of you a little more confident in trying to script a show. We'll go over how to actually import this into a firing system, how to set it up for Mongoose, and a couple other things in some of the other videos. So I hope this helps you guys. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. I'm going to post a link to the finale discussion that actually talks about the VDL language. That way you guys can actually read up on that. And again, if you have any questions, please let me know. And I'll try to answer them for you. Again, feel free to check out other tutorials as well. Some of these other guys do a really good job in kind of doing the basics in Finale. So until next time, guys, be safe, and we'll see you later.